Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the After Hustle podcast. I am your host, Owen Tomko, and today we got a very special episode. We have one game we're going over today, because there's only one game left in the year. It is the College Football Playoff National Championship game taking place at Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami Gardens, Florida. Between the number 3 ranked 7-0 Ohio State Buckeyes and the 12-0 number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Ohio State coming off a very, very, very big win against Clemson it wasn't last week, it was 10 days ago. Because today's the 11th, they played on New Year's Eve, or New Year's Day. 10 days ago against the Clemson Tigers, who respectively should have probably beat them by a million, but that's my personal opinion, so I apologize for that one. And Alabama coming off a win against Notre Dame by 17 on also 11 or 10 days ago. We got one game going on. So hopefully this should be a very quick video, but I don't know. I talk forever. So first of all, we'll go into the spread in the over-under. We'll first start with the over-under. The over-under in this game is 74.5. That is the largest spread, I think, in the college football playoff era since Alabama-Oklahoma in 2018 or 2019, I believe. One of the two. But with that being said, I'm going to take the it's going to be hard not to take the over here because two high scoring offenses, but I'm going to take the over. I know it's big. I know that's a big number to go over on, and it very much is. I mean, it's the biggest. Like I said, it's the biggest over/under in the modern day college football playoff era. The spread is 9 in favor of Alabama, and I do believe Alabama. We'll see. I'll get to that at the end of the video, so I'm not even gonna go there. With that being said, though, that you have, I'll just go over stats because I got one game to go through, and it's gonna be a pretty quick episode. So let's try and elongate this a little bit. Your quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Justin Fields, arguably the number 2 quarterback in this draft, maybe number 3, behind Zach Wilson out of BYU. I personally believe he's number 2. I don't necessarily think Zach Wilson is a polished passer. I think he's more of a golden arm. Kind of reminds me a lot of Baker coming out. Very, very good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but he's definitely not that polished guy, sort of like Lawrence, by comparing them to a guy in his class. With that being said, Justin Fields is your quarterback. He has thrown for 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions on 141 completions and 192 pass attempts. That's not that bad. That's a pretty good number for only playing 7 games, not 70. That is a 73% completion percentage. So that's pretty good. I like guys with high completion percentages, and it's not only can he do it in the air, he can do it on the ground as well. He's, I think, their second second leading rusher, only behind Sermon. I think it's Trey Sermon. He's a transfer from Oklahoma, actually. Not a grad transfer, but a transfer. As for Mac Jones, the quarterback for Bama, he has thrown for 4,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on 275 completions and 357 pass attempts. That's a pretty good number. That is a 77% completion percentage. So even better than Fields threw more, and he threw more passes by pretty much, let's just call it 200 more pass attempts than Justin Fields. So with that being said, looking at the numbers, the passing yards and passing numbers, mind you, these numbers are skewed because Ohio State's only played 7 games while Alabama's played 12. But I personally like Justin Fields more over Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a very good. He's not a scramble guy. Like, he's not an improviser. He's not a dual threat guy. He's more of a sit in the pocket, just true pocket passer. Like, they were showing like a close up of him before the Notre Dame game, and that dude looked like he was like 220. Like, he needed to lay off the hamburgers a little bit. But Yeah, if I was in that position, I don't know what I would do. Your leading rushers for both teams. Trey Sermon, running back for Ohio State. He has 868 yards, 4 touchdowns on 115 carries. I think he didn't play the whole year necessarily. I think he had a rough start to the year, and then has since turned it up and became their number one running back over Master Teague, who was a very, very good running back there at Ohio State. And your leading rusher for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Najee Harris, 1,400 yards, 24 rushing touchdowns on 230 carries. That is an unreal number. And he can, I don't know how big he is. I think he's a big human being. But, let's see, what do they have him at? They have him at 6'2", 230, and he can still jump over a 5'10" defender. That is pretty good. He's averaging 6.1 yards a carry, which is very, very, very good. A normal yards per attempt, yards per carry as a running back is more like 4.5 to 5. You're hoping somewhere in there. Anything lower than that's a little kind of anything lower than really 4.5 is kind of mediocre. But anything, he's over 6, so that's really impressive. As for the receivers, your leading receivers for Ohio State is G. Wilson. I think it's Grant Wilson there. 637 yards and 5 touchdowns on 40 receptions. Not really the greatest year for him. Not really. Ohio State hasn't really been, other than against Clemson, they really haven't been that throwing team. It's been more of relying on Fields' ground game and Sermon's ground game. But they can take the deep shot if they want to. As for Alabama, the Crimson Tide, the leading receiver is Devonta Smith, who was the Heisman winner. He was the favorite, and he still won it. I don't think it was close. It wasn't close. I think he won by 700 votes over the second place person. Which I think was Mac Jones, actually. I could be wrong on that one. I probably am. Devonta Smith has 1,600 yards, so 6,100 or 6,000. God, I can't speak. 6,000 is a record for even a career. 1,641 yards and 20 touchdowns on 105 receptions. That's a pretty good stat line right there. I don't know what that averages out to. It averages out to something very, very impressive. But what he's able to do to defenses is unreal. He beats you with speed. He beats you underneath his deep threat. I mean, he's 6'1", 175. He's small. Not necessarily the biggest guy on the planet. To put this into perspective, I'm 6'1", 145. So I'm 30 pounds lighter than he is, and he's 21 or something like that. But he's averaging, his yards per catch is 15.6 yards per catch. That's really, really good. Similar to running backs, you're looking more towards 13 is a decent yards per catch. And anything below that's not really good. But the big news for Alabama is that they are getting their previous number one receiver in Jalen Waddle back for this game. He fractured his ankle. I can't remember what week it was, but it was against Tennessee earlier in the year. They didn't know if he'll be back for the rest of the year, but seeing that they did make the national championship game, they have been. He is able to return to this game. That is huge for Alabama. I think that just it pretty much sealed. I know who's going to win this game. I'm not going to say yet, but it's one of those things where now, instead of worrying only about Devonta Smith and Najee Harris, so 2 guys, you got to worry about 2 guys. Notre Dame had to worry about 2 guys, and we still couldn't beat them. But now you add the third, and arguably the number. I mean, I would say he's the number. I think he's draft eligible this year. I don't know if he'll go because he's hurt. But he is one of the most technologically advanced receivers. He can run routes well. He can go jump ball. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you underneath. I mean, he's an all-around player. So it's just another issue Ohio State has to worry about in this game, which just kind of adds to their problems. So that being said, I mean, we're at 10 minutes, so I found a way to talk for 10 minutes, but I'm going to go with the winner here, and I'm going to pick Alabama to win and Alabama to cover, so that would make Alabama your 2021 national champions, I guess, yeah. In a very weird year, as everybody knows, because unless you live under a rock and you don't know what's going on, like Patrick from SpongeBob. But I do think Ohio State has a chance in this game. I think it's a very slim chance because I think Alabama's just... I mean, Alabama's not going to beat you with defense. They're going to beat you by scoring 65 points on you. And just say, hey, we're going to score 65 on you, just keep up. And if you can't keep up, well, it's too bad. You're not going to win this game. So I think with just how explosive that offense is for Alabama, I'm going to pick Alabama to win and Alabama to cover. Ohio State shocked me against Clemson, really did. I didn't see that outcome for Clemson or Ohio State at all. I thought Clemson was going to beat them by 1,000,000. But I was wrong, and that's what happens. So I don't think I'm going to be wrong here. I think Alabama's going to win, Alabama's going to cover, and I'm going to take actually the over here. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to come down to how many points Ohio State can score, because I think Alabama's going to score upwards of 45 points on this pretty decent Ohio State defense. And you'll probably have Sean Wade covering Devonta Smith the whole game. He's the number one receiver or number one corner for Ohio State. But I don't know who's going to cover Jalen Waddle. Even if he plays a factor, I mean, he might not even be a factor in this game with how maybe he's not 100%. Maybe he's just a distraction. I don't know. But I think they'll find a way to use him if he's healthy. If not, then I think he's just a decoy at that point. Yeah, so I pretty much got nothing else to say. So I know this is going to be my shortest video ever on the channel so far. It's going to be 12 minutes, 13 minutes maybe. So that being said, I'm going to need ideas because I'm done. College football season's done after tonight, and I'm going to have to try to find ways to maybe go into like recruiting, coaches, the coaching carousel, whether who's getting hired, who's getting fired, who's going where, who's not going anywhere. NFL draft is coming up in a couple months, so I'll be doing that as well. Mock drafts, player film study, and a bunch of other things. I'm just gonna need ideas, guys, because I'm running out of ideas during the off season. I gotta try and find a way to keep the content updated, keep the content fresh for you guys during the off season, because it's gonna be a long off season. Considering we might not play again till September. I know the NFL season starts in early September, and the college season starts in September as well. So we're going to have that kind of dead period over the summer where I'm going to find things to do. So after the draft, I'm going to be in a really dead period. If you want me to go into like NHL stuff, I probably won't be doing predictions on that, but if you want me to go into like NHL stuff or college basketball or baseball or anything else, baseball related, anything sports related you want me to go into, just leave a comment down below and let me know, because once again, I said I got nothing to do. I got no ideas, so I'm kind of running out of ideas once football season ends. So yeah, so with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching as always. Hope you guys enjoyed these videos, these college football videos, because you won't be getting them for a couple months until football season starts back up again. But hopefully then I'll have more of a idea of what I'm going to do and have a plan on what I'm going to do and how I'm going to run these videos. So yeah, I thank you all for the support on these college football videos as always. I really love doing this. It's super fun for me. So yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, and hopefully by the end of the night, Alabama will be the national champions. So one more time real quick. I'm taking the 74.5 over. I'm taking Alabama to win, and I'm actually going to take Alabama to cover, meaning they win by more than 9 points. So, yeah, that's it. Peace, guys.